just yeah.
Well, I've never used two mics. I feel it's like Arab Moi's days where I use six. But my name is Teddy Warrior. The reason why I've stood, I just wanted to say actually thank you to a great man and a servant leader to Kenya, Dr. Bitange Ndemo. The reason why I'm saying that is we had come back from the US some 2.5 years ago. We didn't know too many people in Nairobi, even though Nairobi was home. And he was courteous enough to let us meet him at his office at 7 a.m. sharp. He actually came on time. And it was me, together with my friend called Eston Kimani, who is the CEO of Africa Stocking Limited. We started with a little money, and right now we're very profitable. And I think a lot of, some of you, I don't know how many users the africastocking.com API here. Is there anybody here who does that? So thank you for your business. And when I was talking here to Gadura, I believe that's the name, he asked him what's an entrepreneur. He said an entrepreneur executes with an aim of making profit. So as you aspire to build your businesses, don't be shy of making money, as long as you make it legally. Okay? And not to even say much, he actually came and launched our product and our company, SMS Voices, in Africa Stocking at Strathmore University. And our company now has hired 12 people since then. And I'm one of the directors and shareholders. I took some break 6 months ago so that I build a Pan-African organization called Africa 2.0, which will be a one-on-one human diplomacy, where instead of Shian coming to Nairobi and not finding any African that he knows, he can find me and he can find you if you're our member, and we can give him tremendous access in our country because he's also an African. So we are connecting people to people with Africa 2.0, but with Africa Stocking, we're providing mobile solutions for Africa. And so I'm so glad to be here. Read what he writes. He writes a lot and he reads a lot. And actually right now he's giving me another company idea. I'm an entrepreneur, and the company will be called Business Development Services. He gave a plethora of things that you can do, and I can help you do that. I'm happy to do that. And for those who will be in Kenya on July 19th, with the Standard Group, we'll be launching Transform Kenya Awards. Jeff Koinange will be the MC, so I'll send you invitations if you give me your cards. It's going to be at Windsor. So let's transform Kenya, which is the cradle of mankind, and let's build Africa. Thank you.
I want to thank Teddy because everywhere I speak, people say good things, and then I wish my wife was there to hear. But today I carried her. She's here, so you see I'm big. Yeah? So I have asked Dr. Gathuru that in the next session, next month, he takes us through what is called oil services industry. It's a mega, multi-billion industry. But Kenyans are sitting here innocently. We don't know even where Turkana is. We don't even know where the pipe would go through. We don't know what the oil services industry is about. We have developers here. He has given us a challenge on the developers. And I'm going to ask Jessica. She's up there? Okay. Or you can do it actually. That we confiscate the passport from him, because he has many things to share with us. Do you agree that we confiscate the passports? You are not going back to Cameroon. They lost, so you can stay. You can stay here. Now we open for questions before we ask Jesbank to say something at the end. Questions, to any of the speakers. To any of the speakers, you can ask. There is no stupid question. There is no stupid question. So,
I'll bring the mic to you.
oh, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Yuri Walter, a co-founder and a director of
Resilient Business Systems Company Limited in Kenya. My question is directed to Dr. Bitange Ndemo. You are an inspiration for me, and you are the one of the reason why we started our company. Okay, I have a lot to say, but I'll be short and precise. I'm in the tech industry.
Get a one-on-one with her.
To him, I've been like a stalker now. I've been following what he's saying everywhere about in Kenya tech industry. But my main question today is, for youth like us, I believe I'm talking on behalf of every techpreneur here. There is a lot of challenges for us. The government is saying that tech industry will employ most of the youth. But as an entrepreneur, we are having a lot of challenges, financially, exposure, and everything. So my main question was, how is the government doing to see somebody like Yuri Walter, who is bringing a concept in East Africa that has not been seen? How are you going to help us? Basically, if you don't know, guys, we are a cloud computing company. It's a new concept in Kenya. I've heard of many. We are 3, and we wanted you to expose us as entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Exactly. Let me tell him one thing. I started by saying, let us not ask what government has done. Let us say, what have we not done? You heard what Teddy said. He didn't tell you that his company now is worth $4 million, isn't it? He did not. It's called dollars, not dollars. So, we need a number of sessions. You need people like him to go through these business development services. Then we create networks around you, and that's how you begin to. This is the gap that we have seen that is lacking, that the youth who have very creative ideas, they are not able to succeed because they don't have the networks, they don't have the exposure, they don't have. This is why we are here. So we have a lot of students who could do research on your behalf. I'll give it as an assignment. So, but it would one of the PhD students here. So they would do the research, and we can help you. That's why we are here. That's why we want to create an institutional framework to help the youth who want to succeed. You had something to say?
No, well, now you've asked me to say something. I just wanted to get the mic. But again, I did cloud computing. So from a technical point of view, in terms of the technology, so we can help in the sense that there are certain services which statistically have proven to be successful. You have something called an adoption model or roadmap. So if you're doing a business, it's always good to have an understanding of what your end customers are likely to adopt, simply because they have less objection. Right, so there's a lot less perception of risk, because the dangers of cloud, or the perceived dangers of clouds, are around security. You're giving someone a lot of trust, right, to do things for you. So what we can do is maybe help you think through what services you're providing, and if those services make sense as a starting point, because you need to build trust. And once you build that trust, you deliver the great service, then you have an opportunity to grow from a solid foundation. So I can share some of those thoughts with you.
I'm really appreciating. I didn't know we'll find feedback immediately.
I'll give you my email again.
Okay. And everybody here, I know probably you're not a customer, or you will be, but I'm encouraging you guys, just go to cloud.resilientsystems.co.ke. Just see what Kenyans are able to do. I know we are fighting with Google, we are fighting with Microsoft Azure, but this is a local idea, and I would encourage you guys to expose us. Thank you.
That one you would pay. That's an advert. Another person. Any other question. There's one at the back.
Hello everyone, my name is Leonard and I run a small startup called MobiDev. We basically do mobile development for enterprise. And I have two questions. One of them is to the director from Kipia. And it's along the lines of merging oil and gas and natural resources with technology. In my little research, I come from a finance background, and if you look at the margins in the oil and gas industry compared to the tech industry, I think they are the only industries that have the gross margins of over 50%. So that should explain why they are some of top 10. But my question is along the lines of, if in your own view, what steps do you think will make us merge the two industries? Or what's the roadmap along those lines? And then in terms of enterprise risk management, so like what normally happens in development world is, even when you're doing costs for enterprise development, that is usually not covered most of the time because it's not anticipated. So in your experience, what have you seen happens in the market? How do you incorporate that, or how do you anticipate for such kind of risks and cover them? Thanks.
Thank you. That's a very good question. So what is the roadmap? So you, as MobiDev, if I got it right, and yeah, you want to link to the oil and gas companies, correct? So immediately I saw this map here of Nairobi, right? A little bit, it looks to me like it's based on the London Underground story, I think, huh? But okay, this is Nairobi. So you are where we are now on Gong Road, let's say, yeah? And I'm trying to identify Gong Road. If you see it before me, just shout out. Where are we? On this side, yeah? There, iHub, I'm sorry. Just above your head, huh? So iHub is there. So that's where MobiDev is, yeah? And then let's take a company. Now, everybody in Kenya will have heard of Tallow, correct? Does Tallow drill? Does Tallow drill? How many say Tallow drill for oil? Just put up your hand. They do the physical drilling. How many say Tallow have never drilled a well in their life? Tallow has never drilled a well in their life. Yeah? So, Tallow's office is in Westlands on Wayakiwe, correct? And MobiDev is here in Gong Road. So, if MobiDev, I didn't see which answer you went with. I think you remained neutral, which is fine. Smart move, okay. No worries. If MobiDev goes directly to Tallow and says to Tallow, I want to help you with the drilling activity, Tallow will say, we've never drilled a well in our life. Why are you coming to talk to us? The reason is we don't understand the value chain in oil and gas. So that's where we've got to start. You asked of the roadmap? Well, we have to start by understanding that if I want to get to Wayakiwe and I'm in Gong Road, I will not be able to go directly to Wayakiwe. I have to maybe go to Yaya, follow the new bypass, or go back to Lavington, or go to the city center. You have to understand what are the nodes in that value chain. So Tallow will tell you, in order to get to us, you have to come downtown, all the way along Gong Road, and maybe here you find a company called Weatherford. And Weatherford has a drilling rig that they supply to Tallow. But Weatherford doesn't use their own drillers. Weatherford comes to another company that supplies drillers who use their rig, who then supply the service to Tallow. So we have to understand in our roadmap, very simply put, what is the value chain? And once you understand that, and certainly I'm happy to share this with you, then you will understand who is actually your target customer. Because we may imagine Tallow is the target customer, and probably Tallow is not the customer we want to go to. Yeah? So I hope that gives you an idea. And certainly, I accept the invitation. Asante sana daktari. When we have that session, I'll be able to share with you a lot more how the business actually works. Now, your second question on risk management, was that also directed towards the oil and gas business?
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
Interestingly, the answer is very similar to what you just said, right? It's about understanding the value chain. I personally believe that the way education in terms of technical knowledge, right, has evolved in more mature parts of the world doesn't necessarily mean that's what we need to do. I think there's an opportunity to leapfrog, right? So do you really need to be so deeply knowledgeable about enterprise risk management issues? Maybe not, right? So my area of interest, this is what I think, that you should be aware of the importance of enterprise risk management. But as a developer, of services, you should be in a position, right, to identify the right partner, the right organization within that value chain that can provide a platform for you to use, right, which you have a lot of trust for in the sense that it addresses those needs. And you should be in a position to do that due diligence. That gives you that level of confidence. So you can focus on what you do best, right? And what you do best about understanding the requirements of your client and being able to translate those requirements into efficiencies that are driven by the technology that you create. So I think it's very much along the lines of having the right value chain and having the right partner ecosystem that ultimately translates to agility. Because you want to be able to do things better, faster than anybody else, so you can make more money than anybody else, right? Profit.
I actually said this earlier, that in Africa, everybody who wants to start a business, they actually want to buy the entire machinery. They want to spend on CapEx before they start. And that's why they keep on saying, I don't have capital. And those are people who have knowledge how to do it. The article that led to this thing has brought so many people together. The article that followed on Mama Mboga is changing completely the whole value chain in vegetable. You are going to see a lot of results. In fact, the startup that won at Pivot Point, Pivot East, was one that is dealing with Mama Mbogas. Understand the value chain. He's not going to be buying mbogas, but he has come in between to create the efficiencies. That is where we want to get most of you to understand that you don't need the amount of money you think you need to succeed in an enterprise. One last question. Yes, sir. That is coming. That is coming. There is
I'm Roti Victor, the MD of Microsoft IT Consultant. Of course, there have been two questions that have been pondering my mind, but I think it is the right time, since we've got guests and we've got ourselves, who can help me decide on this. I've got two questions. Basically, we are an IT company developing ERP systems, and we started somewhere in November last year. Now, my question was, I know most of the businesses don't like errors in terms of IT, of maybe you create a software for them, they don't want errors. But now what they want is the trust that you have. And what they want is referrals. I mean, maybe how sure are we that you can develop that systems? And for our side, there is no way that we can maybe do not develop the system. But now they have been asking questions, which maybe, okay, I'm taking too much time. In short, is that how should you gain trust in a certain business? Maybe, for example, you have approached a client or somebody, maybe a potential client. How should you gain trust? Okay, how should you make him or her gain trust in you that you can develop that system? The second question is, we have been IT's wide field, and my question is, should we, for a startup company, because of course we are a startup because you've taken around 6 months. Should you diversify in IT or specialize in software development, and if it is software development, which kind of software development? Or you diversify maybe development of software, web design, and all others. Thank you.
Try the first one, then I try the second one.
Yeah, can you just recap? I got lost in. So what's the first one? Summary.
First one is on trust. How do you build trust?
Okay, how do you build trust? In taking services, your service to the market, or in terms of what? Is that the context?
The company itself. How can it build trust in IBM?
Okay, okay. So trust, this is, again, my personal view and expected. Trust comes from you delivering a service, right, to your customer. And you, I think, you know, as an entrepreneur, I always look at the long term, the long haul, right? Not making a quick profit or whatever, making a lot of money, right, in the short term, and not actually delivering, you know, the expectation that you set for your customer. So as a business, whatever you do, I think you need to make sure you set a realistic expectation. You try as much as possible to exceed. So it's always better not to overpromise, right? And under-deliver, even though whatever you under-deliver might be pretty good. It's always good to under-promise slightly, or at least, you know, set a reasonable expectation and exceed that expectation, right? So always try to exceed expectations, either in terms of the time it takes to deliver that service, or in terms of the quality of the service itself, or it could even be in terms of the after-sale service, right? Always take care of your customer. And if you take care of your customer, that translates to trust. And with trust comes additional business. The other point to make, sorry, before I hand it over, is that it takes a lot less effort to maintain a relationship than to build a new one. So as a business, whatever you do, when you've acquired a new customer, do all you can not to lose that customer. And that's what a lot of telcos, right, you know, struggle with. They call it churn, right? How do you minimize churn? And it's a problem in the telco industry. So as a business, always remember that, right? It's a lot less effort to maintain a relationship than to build a new one, right?
Think of it as a relationship when you are courting. You know, remember to say thank you, open the door, call back to see whether they arrived fine, you know, and appreciate things around, even if you forget later on, but until you win, you do all the simpler things. Actually, building a relationship is actually a process with small things that build up to bigger things. That's how, whether with a big organization or a small organization, that's what you've got to do. The second question is that 80% of the software being developed now is developed on the mobile platform. It's up to you to decide whether you want to go on the 20% side or to 80% side, where to specialize. I used to have a lot of problems with developers of ERPs, and they would come and say, your focus is so much on the mobile platform. The entire government is building their solutions around the mobile platform, because everybody has the mobile. Not everybody has computers, but everybody has a mobile phone. So I'm just giving you, you decide on your own. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, it will.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Oops.
I wanted to address that a little bit too, which is, I mean, very similar to what you were saying, is listening to your customers. You sort of asked a very complicated question to the entire room here, when you need to sort of define your problem, or actually not your problem, but what is your customer's problem. For like Synergy, very different than IT, but again, we built a relationship. Like, we collect our waste every single day. And when we tell that to people, they don't believe it because they've never had that sort of service before. Like, pit latrine exhaustion happens once every 3-6 months, maybe. So a service that happens every single day is unbelievable. And it took us a long time to convince people of that. But now, like, we have customers, and we listen to them. We have forums, like, every quarter to listen to, you know, what their issues are with that service, like what's good, what's bad, and so that we can respond to what their problems are. And now, like, in maintaining that relationship, they refer us to new people. they trust us so that then their friends trust them, and so now their friends trust us. And that's also allowed us to look into, you said, which platform do you go into? That's allowed us, we originally started with sanitation, but now we're looking into what are other ways we can help our customers make more money. So seeing like, oh, can they sell clean water? Can they sell cook stoves? What things can they do to help the people that they are trying to appease succeed more? And so we're listening to them about how can we do something for them. But it starts off sort of by saying, what is their problem, and making that your problem, not simply what is the best solution. Our original solution was something very different than what we're doing right now. But we listened to people and switched and said, so if I came to this room right now and said, just what is the best solution for sanitation, maybe someone here has been to Japan and they could say, oh, in Japan they have these heated toilet seats, they play MP3 players, there's a bidet in it, it automatically opens and closes, it's awesome. But that's not what, that's not what's in the building here, that's not what's in the slums. So we have to sort of change and listen to what the customers and make their problem your problem.
Okay, you have one more question.
Actually, it wasn't a question. I wanted to follow up also on the how to build trust. I'm in a similar business. How to build trust from an entrepreneur's point of view. Well, you have to remember to tell about your successes, and I don't mean bragging, I mean case stories, customer statements. I've seen IT companies in Kenya who you go to the website, you have no idea about what they do, who they do it for, why. Okay, you don't want to tell anything. Bring case stories. What they then do is that then they go and have a pitch presentation or whatever, and they have a slide with 25 big logos of these are our customers, we do great work. Next slide. No, don't do that. What work did you do? What problem did you do for that client? Build a case story. Get a customer statement. Get the customer to actually state what problem you solved for him. I used to run a web design agency in Denmark. We were very aggressive on collecting customer statements. And clients always say, yeah, I'll give you a statement. It never comes. So what we did, and what I still try to do, is we actually write the statement on their behalf. And we say, this is what we think that you could say in terms of how we help you. So we sent that to them as a draft. Here, would that be okay for us to quote you saying something like that, or would you want to change it? So instead of just saying, give us, it's like, here, you can give us this. It makes it much easier because the guy there, he's busy, he's doing something else, he doesn't have time to help you with your business. Then he can just respond saying, yeah, that's fine, or he responds and he changes a few words and so on. It's good. Now you have a statement, then you have screenshots. Then you write a full story about what were the problem, what were you trying to do, how did you go about doing it, and so on. Now you have a full case story. It takes a lot of work, maybe a full day, but that's what you need to present, that's what you need to put on your website to tell other customers that these are the sort of things we do, these are how we do it, and this is the value we create. That's how you build trust. One case by one. And if you're just starting and you don't have anyone to show about, well, the first one, maybe they get a 50% discount if they promise to help you write a good case. It can be brought into negotiations like that.
So we have overshot our time. I would ask Ronald Gishuki to come, and we want to thank them dearly for sponsoring this. They have a lot of money to fund startups. startups. And let me thank also Dr. Gadara and Dr. Nafti, and yeah, and yourself, and Alice and Nathan, and actually everybody for coming to attend this. We need to create something out of this. We must change ourselves. As I said, let's stop talking about government has not helped us. We can move some of these things ahead and only seek help from the government on policy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm from Chase Bank, Innovation Department. And maybe just two things I'd like to mention. One will be on why partnerships like this, or why relationships like this we're actually trying to create with iHub and other hubs around the country. And two will be actually a mention on financing. So one, why we are trying to do partnerships like this is we want to change the traditional way of banking. So we want to come in from a pillar perspective in terms of innovation, because the world is changing. We cannot still do the banking the same way that we used to do it. So we need to tap into whatever you guys have here and reflect it in terms of what you actually want banks to do for you. Albert Einstein said we cannot solve our problems with the thinking that we had when we first encountered them. So we need to think differently, and as banks, this kind of relationships help us to think differently, and they actually help us to realize that, the way that we used to do banking before, you go to the teller, you ask for your money, you go out, we actually want to change that completely. And where we are going, I think alternate channels, there's some, the mobile phones that you actually have, you can be able to do banking from the comfort of your seat right here. And free marketing, the Mfukoni platform, which is actually an award-winning app for East Africa this year. It's actually a very good app. And you can actually do all the banking, open even an account from the comfort of your seat. I can even challenge you. You can even just try and download the app from any Play Store that you actually have on your phone. Maybe apart from iPhone, we're still on Android. You can actually try and do that. If nothing else, if not even to open an account, you can get traffic updates on that one. So I think that's a pretty good one. You can even view the traffic cameras from just your phone. So you can be able to predict traffic. Number two, on financing, I'll just make a brief mention. How many were lucky enough to be at the Pivot East earlier this week? Not too many, but it was a very good event. And I remember when we were talking with a few people from the tech world, someone actually came and told me, thank you so much for sponsoring this event. We are actually very grateful as tech startups and entrepreneurs. And they asked me, but can I be brutally honest with you? And one thing that I've learned, or rather in those kind of talks, is that once someone tells you, can I be brutally honest with you, or with all due respect, nothing good ever follows after that. But they actually told me that they believe that we actually have we have a good idea in terms of what we actually want to do, and in terms of even financing techs. But the big question comes to, they told me, by the way, I think you guys really do want to do this, but I don't think you know how to. And that actually sparked me in terms of, I went back, and right now we are trying to work on something in terms of financing techs. And it might not be today or tomorrow, but it's coming up and it's in the wheels, because you need to appreciate that tech startups especially are a unique kind of thing we actually need to look at. So I'd like to thank you all for even making the attendance. And also, open accounts at Chase Bank. At least we get justified to be sponsoring this kind of events. Maybe on Monday, then we see accounts opening as short up. They'll be, hey, yeah, it's what we actually sponsored on Saturday. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
those are 2 accounts being opened there. Thank you for coming. We would get to know the next session. Jessica. Actually, Jessica would finish. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ndemo and all the other speakers. I loved your session. It's like very eye-opener in terms of understanding the value chain. I think it's extremely important, and I think that's what a lot of people in the idea stage have a challenge with, is what is the value add that you're giving back to the value chain that you are actually working on. And that's, once you get that, you're able to actually understand how to do customer acquisition and give them the real value add that they do require. So ladies and gentlemen, what we challenge you as the iHub is that we kind of inspire you to actually take entrepreneurship seriously. So in the media world, the editors use the 3 I's, yeah? And the 3 I's is what you called inspiration, information, and instigation, right? So what we're doing at these kind of forums, and we're going to have a lot of these, and I think Dr. Ndemo, we're going to suggest the date today here, is these are inspirational and informational sessions, right? You're all upcoming entrepreneurs, or you are people who can actually support upcoming, I don't say young, because I believe anyone in this room, whether you're 60 or whether you're 20, you can become an entrepreneur. It's the kind of team you build. So I want you to go to the next stage, the instigation. What are you going to do about it? What are you as an individual or as a team going to do once you've actually had this kind of information and inspiration? Are we just going to sit behind and say, cool session, yeah? Or are we actually going to go out there and really understand our ecosystem and how we can add value to it as a citizen? I keep that onus on you. It is up to you to take up that challenge. But I definitely know, as Jessica, I'm definitely going to go out and understand the oil and energy industry a little more. What kind of value add as we as the iHub can actually give entrepreneurs here to tap into those various platforms. Enterprise is also upcoming. The likes of Doc, Teddy, and IBM. We had Dr. White speaking about big data. Enterprise is on the rise. It's kind of the gold mine, the untapped gold mine right now. Are we going to tap into those opportunities? It's up to you to actually tell us as the iHub how we can actually leverage this and take you to the next session. Do you want more specialized sessions? They're experts in this room. We want to connect you with those experts. So what we do is that we are developing and connecting people. 3 years ago, we were connecting people. Now we want to connect and develop you. We want to mold you as an engineer, as a business entrepreneur, as a marketer. So we want to connect you with the experts and enrich this tech ecosystem. For the startups here, we want to actually support you, whether it's in terms of investing or finding potential clients. And finally, we want to actually merge with the academic community, the applied research community, to actually surface information and actually enlighten startups and tech companies in areas which verticals, specifically verticals in this ecosystem, which they can actually tap into on what they're doing right now. So that's why we, as iHub, exist to actually enrich this tech ecosystem and work with the different stakeholders to make it a stronger ecosystem. Kenya is the tech hub right now within Sub-Saharan Africa. Let's keep on being the leaders right there, and we do that through these kind of forums. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much for attending this entrepreneurship session. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Chase Bank, who will continue to sponsor these sessions going on. Also, thank you to Nation Media, who are one of our former partners in 2011. I hope we can continue being partners going forward for these events. And thank you very much for attending these events. I'd like to make a small request, ladies and gentlemen. Please let's keep time. The next session will start at 10 sharp. We waited for about 45 minutes today, but the next session we will start on time so we can end on time. And Dr. Ndemo, with that, I think we should actually... I would actually want us to decide the next session. Anyone with a calendar? Can we pull out our calendars? When are you next available in July? Would you want to have this session the 3rd week of July? Can I have a calendar? Okay, so the next session, 20th July? Oh yeah, 19th. Okay, so the next Entrepreneurship Forum will happen on the 19th of July at 10 a.m. at the iHub. All right? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Saturday. Oh yeah, today's Cake Festival, Uhuru Gardens, in case you like cake. Bye-bye.